Welcome to the channel, you guys. It's Pokey, Big, JoJo, and I decided that we're going to be going through the entire Pokedex one by one. We're going to be talking about all the Pokemon, starting with my boy Bulbasaur, all the way up to Venusaur. Let's get it. So here we have my boy Venusaur, and we also have my little boy Bulbasaur. But if you didn't know, it works the other way around. Bulbasaur evolves into Ivysaur, which evolves into Venusaur. So, if you catch an Ivysaur, it will then evolve into a Venusaur. If you catch a Bulbasaur, it's going to evolve into an Ivysaur, then a Venusaur. If you catch a Venusaur, I'm sorry, but it's not evolving. So if you indeed are at the start of the evolution line, and you do have a Bulbasaur, it evolves into Ivysaur at level 16, and then it evolves into Venusaur at level 32. And before we move over to attacks and TMs, you guys gotta see the stats from when it's a baby to when it becomes an adult, because obviously you have to see the progression and how good it becomes. But so you guys, here are the stats amongst Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, and Venusaur as it becomes a full evolution Pokemon. But next up, we got attacks and TMs, one of my favorite things to talk about. Now when it comes to TMs and level ups, Bulbasaur going to Venusaur learns a lot of moves. As you can see right here, these are all the moves that Bulbasaur learns leveling up to Venusaur as it, continues its evolving process. These are all the attacks it learns. And as you can see right here, these are the egg moves it learns. So, two of these egg moves can be learned via TMs, being Curse and Toxic, but Ingrain and Petal Dance can only be learned via egg moves. And last but not least, these are all the TMs that are obviously able to be used or attached to Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, or Venusaur. So if you need to see these, because I know these are kind of hard to find, go ahead, pause the video right here, check them out. If you need to, add some attacks to your Bulbasaur, Venusaur, or Ivysaur, this is going to be the place for you. So here we have the strengths and the weaknesses of Bulbasaur. So as you guys can see, Bulbasaur is resistant to Fairy, Fighting, Grass, Electric, and Water. And it's weak to Ice, Fire, Physical, and Flying. So you also have to keep this in mind when team building or even doing competitive play on what it's weak against and what it's strong against. So this is a great thing to look back if you guys are having trouble remembering the typings or having trouble remembering what it's weak and what it's strong against, because they have added obviously two more typings, being I think it was Steel and Fairy they added. But yeah, so make sure you guys keep. And I personally I forgot that Bulbasaur was resistant to Fairy. So that's something that you guys might actually want to use and keep in mind when playing in these obviously these newer gens, since Fairy wasn't really a big thing in the older gens. So that's for Bulbasaur's strengths and weaknesses. After seeing the strengths and weaknesses, you're probably wondering what's the best matchups for Venusaur and what's the best Pokemon to put it out against if you see it in competition. So some of the Pokemons that Venusaur does really good against would be Shaman, Melodic, Mega Blastoise, Excalibur, Bronzong. Those are just to name a few. But Venusaur does have a lot of good matchups, but Venusaur does have a lot of bad matchups, being basically any flying or fire type, pretty much. So keep that in mind when using Venusaur in battle as well. So now, moving on to leveling up and breeding. So if you're trying to level up your Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, or Venusaur, just remember that it's medium slow, which means that it doesn't take too much time to level up. That's pretty much all I can say about that part. But other than that, the catch rate is about 5.9% with a Pokeball at full HP. Keeping in mind that if you're trying to breed this Pokemon, that it is part of the egg and monster egg group. And it's also only a 12% chance of catching a female with an 87% chance of catching a male. And just FYI, these egg cycles are about 20, which means it will take about 5,000 steps to hatch a Bulbasaur. And last but not least, you guys already know I gotta leave you guys off with something cool that I found about Bulbasaur, looking up all this information. So one thing that a lot of you guys might not know about Bulbasaur, or it's actually not even in the Pokedex when you're playing Pokemon, is that Bulbasaur is actually known to take care of younger, weaker Pokemon. So as you can see here in the listing right here, it says that it was actually known that Bulbasaur would actually seem Bubblebis to crying Pokemon and sleep them back and forth if they were in trouble. So that's something that I thought was really cool and really interesting that I've never heard anyone really talk about at all. So that's one of the last things I wanted to leave you with a cool little insight on my guy Bulbasaur and something that he does in the Pokemon world. But FYI, you guys, if you guys love this video, next time we are going to be covering, obviously you guys know the next boy up is my boy Squirtle. Or is it Charmander? I think it's Squirtle. Charmander or Squirtle. Either or, we're going to be covering both of them soon enough. So, if y'all like this video, drop a like, drop a sub for me. I appreciate it. It took a lot of effort, took a lot of work. Got a lot of getting all these stats for you guys. So, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Appreciate y'all watching. And you already know, Big JoJo out.